All right, here we go from the sports capital of the South here in Cebu. This is Bleacher Talk Goes Live. Good evening, good evening to one and all, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to another episode of Bleacher Talk Goes Live. This is Rico Navarro here in Cebu, and today we will talk about basketball. We'll talk about the latest ongoings in the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas, and we have our special guests joining us here tonight. First of all, we'd like to welcome. He is now Deputy Director for Operations of the Samang Basketball ng Pilipinas. Please welcome Mr. Butch Antonio.
Good evening, RD Rico. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Sir Butch. Sir Butch, sorry, but I always have this question sa mga guests natin ngayon. No?
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks po. Fill in the blanks. Okay, basketball in this pandemic is blank.
Is the beam of hope.
Ayun, the beam of hope. The NBA just ended, the PBA just started. Pwede, di ba? Beam of hope, no?
Diba?
Tama,
Okay.
tama. All right. Joining us also tonight is no less than the head of the SBP Coaches Academy. We have Coach Jong Uichico. Coach Jong, good evening.
Good evening, Sir Rico. Good evening, Sir Butch, and everybody watching. Good evening.
Good evening, Coach Jong.
Coach Jong, the same question or fill in the blanks that I gave to Sir Butch, no? Basketball in this pandemic is blank. Paki-fill in the blanks lang.
Is alive again.
Wow, okay, alive again. So I like the attitude or the mindset that both of you are coming into this show with. No? Alive again, and the beam of hope. And true enough, no, with the NBA just ending, I'll have to go to that first. No, Sir Butch, your first thoughts about the LA win over Miami.
Well, it was very one-sided. It was clearly the best team won. The NBA had a champion that truly was the best team this year, and I have to give it to the NBA. On the other side, operationally, I have to give it to the NBA. They made sure that everybody was safe, and hats off to all of them. Congratulations to the NBA for executing such a well-organized tournament, a good fitting conclusion to this NBA season of theirs.
Yes, so through Coach Jong, as a coach, how does I know we've never been in a bubble before, but how does one even imagine to adjust by living in a bubble than staying there between 2 to 3 months? Paano yan? I mean, you're away. At least sa NBA, the families were able to follow later. But the PBA bubble, it's a bubble setup. I don't think families will be allowed. How do we deal with such a thing?
Hirap. I can imagine what they're going through. Kasi kami lang, ni Sir Butch, when we go to Gilas, maski 2 weeks out of the country na, medyo, or 1 month, medyo, ang hirap na eh.
Okay.
What more? Pero we still go out, di ba? Marami kaming recreational activities.
Yes,
pero
yes, yes.
isipin natin yung nasa bubble ngayon sa park, there is not too much recreational activities unlike in the NBA. So your mental, your mental framework before coming into the bubble will be tested, kumbaga, and when you're there. So malaking bagay when I see some pictures in Facebook or in Instagram na players get together, that gives them a little bit of peace of mind that they can survive the bubble. Parang ganon.
Yes.
Parang support group. Yan, support
Correct,
group.
yes.
So, but it's really going to be hard because you're okay lang, nandiyan yung basketball but sometimes you have to get your mind off basketball also and have some recreational activities. That's my opinion. Yeah.
But what we do know is that they have golf, I think, every Monday at Mimosa.
Right,
And I think swimming. But
Yeah.
let's see, they can last for 3 months.
Yeah.
NBA Finals ulit, no? I mean, everybody, Sir Butch, I mean, everybody had to be cheering, in our case, for Eric Spoelstra. I mean, Pinoy eh. But you know that he was up against something. But that speaks so much about Eric Spoelstra and how much he's achieved with the Miami Heat, diba?
Well, I guess sila Coach Jong would be a better gauge for that, no? Pero truth to tell, when you're up against a juggernaut like LA, I mean, with talent like LeBron and AD and the rest. Uh, I was talking to Coach Jonga the other day, saying parang si Eric Spoelstra was playing Spartan basketball. I mean, he was using what, 7, 8 men ready to
Yes.
fight. So you have to give it to him for one, the conditioning that he had his team go through, and yeah, you have to give it to for the effort that they had that to reach the finals
Yes.
with what they had, what he had as a team.
True. Coach Jong, your thoughts about Eric Spoelstra? I mean, there are now, di ba, ang uso ngayon, racial injustice, racial, etc., etc. And in the US, a story came out that he is the only coach with Asian lineage. And he's even pushing, baka siguro naman may pwede pang coaches with Asian lineage, no? Your thoughts about that, Coach Eric, speaking about that.
So, pwede naman because he paved the way. Right now, he paved the way for Asians to be, to be probably in the NBA, not necessarily head coach, but paved the way. Jimmy also, you mentioned Jimmy,
Yes, also,
uh,
yes.
also mentioned Jimmy. So, I mean, and then we have si Magpayo, a Division One coach already. So,
Yes.
these people will pave the way for hopefully Asians, not only Filipinos, but Asians to be able to get to the bigger leagues. And hindi tayo mababox in dito kung nasa Philippines lang tayo. So, I look forward to other coaches, the young coaches right now, to hopefully be given a chance also in international competitions in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
basketball. Yeah.
Sana nga. Why do you say young coach John? Anong ibig sabihin nun kung young coaches?
Well,
Ba-
kasi siyempre, yeah, those yung mga yung mga up and coming, 'di ba?
ayun, ayun.
Siyempre kami, up and coming kasi we were already, closer to the
No
hindi na kami
naman,
nag-target sa
Hindi
coach.
naman.
No naman, coach.
Pero we'll talk about that later. May ano pa tayo, SBP Coach Academy. All right, so let's go to the meat of the matter now because we brought you in so we could get an update of what's happening these days in the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas. You know, I myself have gotten so many questions. I've not only because ito kasi, once they found out na pwede ng NBA, pwede na PBA, then IATF, remember the IATF, when the headlines were there, practice is allowed. Ang problema, ang headline kasi, practice is allowed, but it did not indicate sino ang pwede mag-practice. Sa lahat, tumatawag sa atin, pwede kami mag-practice, ganyan, and all that. And we all know that's basically just the pros, no?
Yes.
The PBA, of course, the Philippine Football League will start practicing, then the Chooks to go through X3 can start practicing. But here now, in the SBP, Sir Butch, what have we been busy with these days? And I know that you have not been at all idle during this pandemic.
Well, you have to understand regarding dyan sa practices and stuff for as far as basketball is concerned. It's true. The PBA has started playing. I think CTG Chooks to Go will be playing next week. But you have to understand that the permits given by the IATF are specific to the pros, to the professional leagues. No,
Yes.
as far as the non-professional leagues are concerned, practices so far have been allowed, but you have to stick to the guidelines given by the joint administrative order by the Department of Health, PSC, and the Games and Amusements Board. I was part of the discussion. We helped contribute to we were asked for input and to help form the guidelines. Right now, we are busy reaching out to the IATF also to see how we can go about with the continuation or the resumption rather ng practice ng ating national team, specifically Gilas.
Coach Jong, I'll ask you the same question because as a coach, 6 months is 6 months. I know that people are doing online, people are Zoom workouts, but sooner or later you will want to break out. Or you want to break out. How do you how do you tell yourself to be patient? How do you tell yourself, cool lang kayo? It will come as a coach telling your people na alam mo nang gusto maglaro.
Well, at least nag-umpisa na yung PBA. Parang
Yeah.
mabuti may naumpisa ng basketball dito sa Philippines, ano. So that's one way to look at it, that hopefully the next one will be the amateurs that are probably 21 and above. Maybe not yet 5-on-5, but at least you can do your individual or 2-on-2 or 3-on-3s in a basketball. Sana dun mag-umpisa, and then everything else will follow. So ako, I see some light at the end of the tunnel because they've seen the PBA, and then the start was successful. And I also see some people in Facebook going 1-0, maski individual practice lang.
Yes.
Meron na rin. So it's a start. It's a good start. At least medyo nag-ano na.
Yes.
It's coming. Yeah.
Yes. Sir Butch, when you talk about the national team, we know it's crucial, no, that they have to be ready at any given time. But what are we asking for from the IATF? Are we asking something like the same thing that the PBA did before when they started practice, or what exactly?
For us, well, I guess for us to be able to resume practice in a more normal situation, but given restrictions, like we might even think of having them go to a bubble type of setup. Kasi like what you said, if we go the 2-man right now, it will be limited to, if it were to be implemented today, given the guidelines, ang ano lang dyan will be 2 players per rim plus 1 coach. So per goal. So maximum you'll have what, 4 players. So what we're trying to do is to have more players to be able to practice, para more participation in one practice, because
Yes.
I think as a coach Jong will hopefully agree with me na syempre the more you have in one court, the more players you have, the better a practice will be. But of course it depends on where you are as far as your practice plan is concerned. But of course you'd like to have your team present, no, and given the current guidelines, parang hindi pa pwede yon masundan. It's just that we are asking for that's why we're asking permission. It is very important that we get approvals from the concerned government agencies.
Yes. Anyway, before we go to Coach Jong, ipapa-shout out ko muna to dahil ito din, I'm sure medyo naiinip na to. Gusto na
Hello,
Coach Pat, kamusta?
I'm
Mag-usap
sure,
tayo.
siguradong gusto na mag-practice niyan, no? In terms
Coach
of that.
Pat has been very helpful rin sa atin, RD Rico, with
yes,
our
definitely.
activities
Sure.
in SBP.
That's true. Here, Coach Jong, again, I will bring you to the Coaches Academy. I know medyo, okay, things were stalled for a bit, then we went online and all that. But yun na nga, because what advice, because I've gotten this question from many coaches. Sir, ano ba talaga? What can we do in terms of practice? And all I can say is we just follow the guidelines. But then again, the funny thing is, I know for a fact that there are many people who are not following the guidelines and they're playing 3-on-3, 2-on-2. What can you advise these coaches?
I don't know, just say, follow the IATF rules. I mean, that's the safest. Kasi, di naman, kasi, that's 21 and under, bawal, di ba? Even
Yes.
21 and above, bawal din. So, as long as the IATF, has not allowed any amateurs, wala muna. I know it's going to be very difficult, but we're, hopefully, they become a little bit more lenient. I mean, that we're all hoping for. So that yun nga, I said that if we can go some 1-on-0, maski 1-on-0 man lang dun sa basketball court, That's already a big, malaking relief na sa basketball
Yes.
player and the coach at the same time. Just like Sir Butch said, if there are only two or three in a basketball court separate, that's already big for basketball players or even any sport for that matter. So hopefully that's what can happen in the future. Yeah.
Okay, Sir Butch, let's talk about now the FIBA Asia bubble. I know that this has been
Mhm.
reported, but it's not yet definite. It's not yet pegged in stone kung kailan o ano. Baka
Yes.
they're just trying to feel the way out. But what would you know officially that is from the FIBA about
Well,
the FIBA?
exactly what you're saying. No? The FIBA Asia and FIBA in Geneva have sent out memos and feelers, no? Asking on our as federations in the different countries on how things are as far as the pandemic is concerned and as far as basketball is concerned, and they'd like to see, obviously, because supposedly in normal times dapat meron tayong window this coming
In
November,
November.
Yes, yes.
wherein we play against I think Thailand and
Korea, I think.
Korea. Yes, yes. But due to the situation, they're trying to feel things out. No, whether it's the home and away format is still going to be something that we will follow, or is it something that we can have a pocket tournament, or wherein teams will go to a host. A host will be bringing in different all the teams and play there. Ang dami pang pinag-iisipan at pinag-uusapan
Okay.
because given all these given all these restrictions by because you get all these different feedback, unofficial and madam, lalo na yun dun sa unofficial, no, you get all these feedback from our different friends from the different federations on the difficulties that
Yeah.
not only they will experience as host, or but even their visitors, or even those
Yes.
who the teams that will uh, go play, and even so those are the things, and we are not any different from them. We are not spared from those restrictions, although yun na nga, as much as we'd like things to get back to normalcy as much as we can, but we have to also proceed with caution. uh, I think I once said that we should take this development enthusiastically, because there are now looking at having basketball return to normal, but of course the process should be uh, done with caution, because it's different na mga buhay natin, iba ang iba ang at stake. It's not just being able to play the game, pero gusto mo naman malaro yung laro, play the sport, play basketball, and at the same time ensure that your players and your visitors, your officials are their welfare and is taken care of.
But Sir Butch, I'll go back to you because I don't well sa akin this is something like this. What hasn't helped in a way, hindi nakatulong dahil nag-NBA na. Europe has already played. In fact, nagka-championship na
Mm-hmm.
sila. And
Mm-hmm.
China is already playing na walang audience. So sometimes when you it's good and bad. People are playing already. So people are thinking, pwede na mag-basketball. What are you hearing now from the other federations sa iba-ibang
Yes,
kahit na
yun nga,
Asian countries lang.
among our Asian countries, yun na nga, they're very cautious. They're taking things. They're taking things. They'd like to take things slowly. Those are the things that we've been hearing. Kasi nga it's not just actually playing. It's being able to leave. When you get back, you will have to have quarantine. You'll have uh, uh, Qatar Qatar uh, hosted football in the early
Yes.
part of September. Um, Although it was not mentioned, but they encountered quite a lot of difficulties and challenges in their hosting with teams coming in, players testing positive,
Wow.
contingents having, you have to send other players home, and then you have to make sure ma-replace yung player para makabuo
Yes.
yung team, and then some other teams just opt to pull out. Those are the things that in the background, or in na hindi nalalaman, no, but those are the things that we have to take care of, and those are the things we face, no. And I'd like, don't get me wrong, we'd like to get this thing. That's why all eyes are on. I'm hopeful. All eyes are on the PBA right now. I mean, the 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 NBA was a success, but it's a
Yes.
different kind
Yes.
of bubble. That's a bubble far, far away. Ito ang
Yeah.
PBA, halos mahawakan mo na eh. You can, atin yun eh. So all eyes are on the PBA, and I'm hopeful that if and when this thing is, when their conference is over, and when they declare a champion, we can use whatever they did as the template, as a template for whatever
Yes.
tournament we use, whatever sport, not
That's true.
limited to basketball only.
That's true. In fact, last Wednesday, actually, ang Cebu, ang nauna to have a bubble. Ito boxing to, last Wednesday. Cebu hosted a bubble boxing event. Of course, boxing is more controlled. Dahil you only have how many people involved, but it was a success. And that's something they might be looking forward to, more boxing bubble events in the private gyms of the different stables dito, no? Whether it be in Cebu, the Elorde, or Jensan down south. No? But Coach Jong, I'll have to ask you, I'm sure you're in touch with some friends sa loob ng bubble in Angeles or in Clark. What have you been what have you been hearing? Anong balita doon? Are they okay so far? Nakamute ka, Coach Jong. Good.
Okay naman sila. They're trying to keep us, they're trying to keep busy. Lalo na ngayon kasi, since the games daw are every day, yung mga kausap ko, since the games are every day, there's really, naka-concentrate lang sila sa basketball. Imagine you practice, and then I'm pretty sure you're viewing. So your only time you have your that's left for you is for your rest already, or you might take away. So nauubos din yung oras nila being busy with basketball. So far so good. The food is okay na daw, so walang problema. Kami ni Sir Butch, when we go international, the first few days, alam namin, masarap yung pagkain. After a while, paulit-ulit yung pagkain, medyo nakakasawa na. So, we'll see later on in the next week or so kung pareho pa rin yung sinasabi nilang okay. But I don't see it being a problem naman.
Very interesting indeed. Like you said, that could be the springboard or template for the future. Again, like you said, Sir Butch, not only basketball, football will be started. Well, football's template is already there. It's just for approval. They're doing the same thing. They'll play in Carmona. Then the idea is they'll stay in Seda Hotel in Nuvali. Tapos yung
Okay.
closed circuit style. So it's similar, very similar to the PBA bubble setup for the Philippines Football League. So we're praying that also does well. Which leads me to my next topic. And I know that, again, this pandemic has not kept us idle with regard to the FIBA World Cup 2023. And we are hosting the FIBA World Cup 2023. The first question dito, Sir Butch, did the pandemic somehow slow us down at the start? And how did we react, or how did we move about it?
Truth to tell, I don't think it slowed us down. As a matter of fact, I think it made us
Nice.
a little bit more focused, because we had that in front of us, and through executive director of the World Cup, FIBA World Cup 2023, Mr. David Crocker, we were able to have meetings, and also our group here with of course si ED Sani, no, and President Al Pandilio. We made sure that we, as a group, we meet at least once or twice a week to talk about the World Cup. We have a management committee or an organizing committee that we've formed, and we've gone as far as forming a regular meeting with our co-hosts, Japan and Indonesia. With them, we meet siguro mga twice a month at least to get to update with each other on things that are supposed to be done, and then we get to help each other on issues that have to be tackled. And then also, as a matter of fact, we are also already now talking about the logo launch. Nagpaplano na po tayo para magkaroon ng logo launch on November, towards the end of November. We are working closely with FIBA Geneva. Like what you said, this 6 months has been 6 or 7 months na ba? I've lost count.
Wala na.
This lockdown has been very busy as far as the preparation is concerned. We did not let we did not let COVID or the lockdown deter our plans or our activities regarding the preparation for the World Cup, because we can't. We simply
Yes.
can't, because
Yes.
it's already it's 2020. In a couple of months, it's 2021. 2021 makes the World Cup 2 years. In 2 years, 3 years time, we're there already. So uh, through our leadership, through the SBP's leadership, yun nga, sila President Al, si MVP is also involved. We have regular meetings with the boss to update him on. He wants to be updated specifically on things going on as far as the preparation is concerned also. So uh, this has not deterred our situation, has not deterred preparation. As a matter of fact, I think it put us where we are. Nagkaroon lang ng mga konting setbacks because of not being able to see each other, but
Yes. Mm-mm.
through the different platforms on the internet now available, we are able to meet and discuss a lot of things. So tuloy-tuloy naman. So I think we're busy. We update the RDs rin naman every so often. RD Rico, the regional
Yes, sir.
directors of the SBP, on these things, and we're up to here. I mean, we're not it's not easy, but we're still we're coping.
Okay, so Butch, just to give people an idea of what, let's say for example, they'd like to know details of plans where the games will be held. I know we've announced it before. Can we give the people an idea now where the games will be played in 2023? So they have an
Well,
idea.
okay, ang ano po sa 2023 World Cup is there will be 32 teams, no? And there will be 32 teams, and there will be three host countries: the Philippines, Japan, and Indonesia.
Yes.
This is going to be the first time there's going to be a three-country hosting. Now, of the 32 teams, 16 teams will be coming to the Philippines, 8 teams will be playing in Indonesia, 8 teams will be playing in Japan, Okinawa in particular, Jakarta in Indonesia. In the Philippines, we will have two venues for the group phase, what we call the group phase. Ang group phase po is what we will, in layman's term, ang eliminations po.
Yes.
The elimination round is what is called the group phase in FIBA language. That will be played in two venues, Araneta Coliseum and Moa Arena in Pasay, and so they play the eliminations, the group phase. Now, once the finals phase or the playoffs come, the top 4 teams from the top 2 teams per group, so 4 teams from Indonesia, the top 4 teams or the top 2 teams per group in Japan will fly over to the Philippines, and we will host the finals phase in the Philippine Arena, okay, in Bulacan. Ang plano naman po natin doon is we will be filling up that 50,000 capacity
Yes.
arena. So yun po ang plano. So you see that there will be 4 venues during the group phase or the elimination round, and then all of them will converge in the Philippines to play in the Philippine Arena for the finals phase. And that's where hindi ko lang ma-determine pa kung which teams will play where because
Yes, of
magkakaroon pa
course.
ng
Yeah.
draw yan. Diba? But
Correct. Correct.
that's where you will see ang finals natin will be the Philippines Gilas versus the US.
Yes. Okay. 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 Which brings me to this question, sir. I don't know if Coach Jong or Sir Butch will
Sorry
answer
about
this.
that.
Ito, a question just as we were talking about it. Dr. Dilbert Munisit is an orthopedic surgeon, sports doctor to, who takes care of our players. Good PM mga sirs, is Jordan Clarkson playing for the Philippines? A very good question actually. Wow.
Well, he's someone that we're looking at, but right now we are still. It's still very early to tell, no. But of course, Jordan Clarkson is Jordan Clarkson. He has helped us in the Asian Games, and depende na lang po sa ating make-up ng team on how things will go. Especially that we're also working on the different para let's see how we can have Jordan play as a local in on the Philippine team.
What about Diane? So true because we know that in terms of getting the pass, I think he got his passport before 16. He did not. Kaya pala. That's well. Again, This was shared by President Al Panilio before when he talked about how is there a way to somehow similar to football. If you have Filipino blood, it's enough for you to play for the national team without any passport requirement at 16 years old. As long as you have Filipino blood, you're okay because by the constitution of the country, you are allowed to play for the country because of that connection. And it's not a passport connection. Any chance FIBA will probably
Because
think that
right now the rules of the FIBA are very specific on the acknowledgement of the acknowledgement of citizenship on or
Yes.
before turning the age of 16 for the field foreigners, no? Unless it's changed or amended, we will have to abide by it. But rest assured, we are making representation. Hindi naman tayo naghumihinto sa to appeal to FIBA to allow. But again, those things are on a it depends on how FIBA goes with their rules on eligibility.
kaya nga, I mean, it's a thorny issue because yun nga, they allow it in football, but how I wish no lahat ng mga international federations they can all agree on something like that. Kaya lang hindi ganun. Life isn't like that. No. Let me go on now to the next topic I'd like to discuss with Coach Jong now, and that's the SBB Coaches Academy. Coach Jong, this has been your baby. We've been at it for the past 2 or 3 years na, no? And successful in the sense that you've been going around nationwide. Right now, what was your first reaction when the pandemic stopped? All of a sudden, your trips nationwide. What did you feel?
Well, actually, ang una kong reaction talaga is relax muna tayo. Hoping that this will just be a temporary thing, maybe a month or two. Kasi everybody was just, wait and see. So, wala kaming ginagawa. Mga 1 month or something like that. Diba? And then, pagkatapos ng mga 1 month plus, sabi ko, sandali, medyo tumatagal na to. Baka naman, and then, news started coming out that it's spreading all over the place. So yun, naisip nga namin yun, maybe we should do something while the clinics cannot be face to face. So Sir Butch and I and the staff, talked about what can we do, and then we came out with the online learning project, which was successful naman. And then after that one, so what else can we do? Since mukhang malabo yung face-to-face, and then we came up with the webinar for women's. We had two webinar for women's, and then and then we stopped for a while, and then the referees came in also. The referees the project of the referees came in also, and then now we're still looking for things to continue with the online clinics. Online clinics for the Coaches Academy. We're going to. My thinking is we're going to try to make this already as a normal, if you can say it normal, because just in case it doesn't come back to 100% normal, at least we have this learning tool na nakaplansya na that we can use already. Whether it goes back to normal or not, nandito yung learning tool na to. And then if it goes back to normal, then we can go back to face-to-face. But this learning tool online is already a part of the SBB Coaches Academy.
Interesting to note there, Coach Jong, no? You talked about women, no? The women coaches and the growth of women. I know it's just the latest thrust, and Coach Pat will be excited about this now. What is our goal for the women coaches or the coaches of women's teams pala?
Well, we just followed the trust of FIBA, because the trust of FIBA is women in basketball. So sumunod lang kami doon ng trust ng FIBA. So we called it Women in Basketball Growing the Game. So we're trying to grow the game not only in terms of coaches, but in terms also of players, and then Sir Bush also in terms of the referees. So lahat sama-sama na. So that's the trust that the Sabahang Basketball ng Pilipinas is also direction. It's also the same direction. So that's what we're doing right now.
Which I have to bring up now because one of the hottest issues today is the WNBL na magiging first professional league for women. Of course, we wish them luck and all that. But your thoughts so far, based on what you've seen, Sir Butch, about the WNBL?
Well, syempre, we want them to succeed, no. It's good that someone or a group is taking a look-see at having a women's league. Kasi kulang na kulang talaga. It's something it's something that our women athletes, our women players can look out for, tama ba yun, after their careers in college, no? So something that pwede nilang to aim for. And we wish them all the best, no? The best of luck. We should be hopeful because also, like what Coach Jong said, FIBA is also part of their thrust is to grow the FIBA family, and one of the pillars or the angles that they're looking at is women, the empowerment of women as athletes, as coaches, as officials of the sport of basketball. So with the WNBL, then we let's see. Tayo rin naman as a federation, we like all these leagues to prosper because that's good for the sport. That's good for us. That's good for our country.
So true. Which brings me to a couple more topics I'd like to discuss regarding the resumption of basketball na tuloy na yung PBA. I'd like to ask your thoughts also about the 3x3. Okay, the 3x3, Sir Butch, was a very big thing. Ang ganda ng momentum. Olympic qualifier coming up. Of course, all of a sudden, bigla na lang wala. Everything
That's
stopped. it's like how do you say this? It's like momentum cut, just like that. So where are we now in the
Well,
3x3 movement?
like all, it's it's restarting. It's all on a reboot.
Yes.
Similar to the PBA, it's rebooted. Ang ano pala in FIBA parlance, 3x3 is for 3x3. The 5-on-5 pala is called basketball in FIBA
Ayun ba yan?
language.
Okay, okay.
Oo, pero para hindi magulo pa rin, di ba? But
Yes, tama.
yung 3x3 natin was really on the upswing na, di ba? And as a matter of fact, the highlight of this year was supposed to be the OQT of for the our 3x3 men's team that was supposed to have been held in India. So that was put on hold. So next year, I think it's going to be played in Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere in Europe, Ireland ata. Coach Jong, Ireland ba?
Di ba Austria? Austria?
Austria.
Austria.
Yeah. So we have to start. We've started talking again as a committee on how things can resume as far as the preparation for the OQT is concerned. That will probably happen towards next year na. Kasi the OQT will happen sometime in May pa naman. May pa. So we're planning for the resumption of play. Pero tama ka, RD Rico. It was just cut abruptly. Even all our programs, all if you note, if ano, our all the SBP grassroots programs are anchored on 3x3,
Yes, that's true.
and we missed out on two big events that even I personally I look for that na when we have our pambansang tatluhan for
Yes, that's
our
true.
age group players, no? So it is sad, but as I said earlier, everything can be challenged, but everything is hopeful. We're very hopeful now with all these developments coming left and right, no? So sana things get to resume kahit with some semblance of a little normalcy. It's okay. Matuloy lang, di ba?
Which reminds me, although I know we're not part of it, uh, the Olympic qualifiers for basketball. How is
Mhm.
that going to happen now? Dahil, di ba, I think there are 4 more slots remaining. Pasok na ang galing sa World Cup, the top teams. But what about the other teams that will need to play in the Olympics?
I guess the FIBA will still have to. I'm sure they have the FIBA, and together with the IOC, or the body that's in charge of the OQT,
Yes.
they have to figure out how to fill up those last slots. Kasi kung mag-volunteer, pwede tayong pumila outright para mag-volunteer tayo, di ba? Pero
Pwede,
hindi
pwede.
hindi ganoon di ba? So I think they have their own plans. Kasi if I were to base it on the mere fact that they already have plans for the 3x3 OQT, that also means that they have
Yeah,
their own.
correct.
Hindi lang tayo siguro, we are not privy to it because siguro because we're not participating in it.
Yes, that's true. Now, which brings me back to this question I wanted to ask earlier. I just forgot it. Just in case nga matuloy yung FIBA Asia bubble or any international competition that we have, and we know that the players are in the PBA, will the Gilas cadets be the ones playing, or who decides that, or where, how, when, why?
Well, that's a challenging question, no? It is a challenging question. But we have ano naman we have our cadets
Yes.
just waiting in the wings. But again, their state of condition I don't know. I haven't seen them ever since the lockdown. That's why I think sila Coach Tab and sila manager Gabby Cui are busy trying to get all these permits in place para makapag-resume na nga sila ng pag-ensayo, pag-practice.
Yeah, that's true. Now, which brings me to our, well, we're winding down now. I'll go back to Coach Jong. Coach Jong, for again here in a situation to handle this SBP Coaches Academy, and I'm sure I have to bring it out again. The many here, I'll show you a chat, a comment rather from eto na, from Coach eto Gabriel Joseph Catholico. Daghang salamat Sir Butch and Coach Jong Uichico for coaching us coaches the safety and caution in better understanding about when to wait. Diba? You win the weight
Win
and
to wait.
yeah. Parang win the weight yan. Parang what Dr. Mar said.
All right,
Mhm.
win to wait.
Your
Hello,
thoughts
Coach
about that, Coach
Gabriel.
Jong?
Win to wait. Dali, hindi ko, hindi ko alam. Medyo mabigat pa naman.
So how do you win the weight as a coach? I mean,
Right,
you're talking
win
about
the wait. Well, ako, kasi nga, ano lang that's, I was talking about mindset. Di ba? Your mindset. Kailangan ready ka. Kasi now, I'm sure what you're saying, it's a waiting game now because you don't know what the future lies. So, now what coaches are doing is really absorbing as much learning as you can at this point in time so that when it does go back to normal and hopefully we can go back to basketball really, handa na tayo. So use this time to really prepare yourself and organize yourself so when it does come, alam mo na yung gagawin mo.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's yun ang
That's
ginagawa
true.
namin ngayon. Maski tayo, yan. We're doing all these things to prepare ourselves for the normalcy to come. So that's how the mindset of coaches should be. And so that we can win the weight. Yun. Tama ba yun?
Win during the wait.
You win the weight.
Yeah,
It's
so that we
easier.
can win the weight. Yeah.
It's easier said than done. Okay, guess na we'd like to eto mag-shoutout muna tayo dahil baka they might feel bad if you don't shout out. So I'll ask you to say hello to those who have been watching us for the past
Yes, Stephen
Iloilo.
Hello,
Hello,
yes.
hello.
Stephen
Good evening.
Good evening. Manager Butch will buy from you. You text him. Stephen Lacosta is a high in Ayala, Abida or something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ito pa isa pang kaibigan natin. Yan.
Oh, hello.
Always Coach
Always
J.
present.
Always, all over.
Yes,
Yes, all over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Coach
And I
J.
talked to, I had a talk with, I was in the Tansa Cavite talk just the other day, hosted by Coach J.
Coach J, always present.
Of course.
Ito favorite ko to.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sir Pong.
Sir Pong, good evening.
Hi,
Kamusta
Pong.
kayo?
Uy, paprag lang kami ongoing pa ngayon. Our Idol Talk series every Saturday where we meet the idols of Cebu and Cagayan de Oro alternately. We had Junmar Fajardo actually last Saturday. Ang ganda ng reception. And
Sure.
pati pa si Magu, Marjon and Carlos, they were very impressed because that's the first time they heard his real story about coming from a poor family in Pinamangahan in Cebu.
Yeah.
And yung kay Gio Halalon na sumasabit lang sa jeepney para
Ay,
makapag-try
oh,
out.
si Gio. That's right.
When you hear the stories, it's
those are
really
great. Yeah,
Inspiring.
Those are great stories.
Yes,
Inspiring,
yes.
exactly.
Inspiring.
We should write a book about all those. Remember our book writing?
yes.
Write a book
Kaya,
of all
we should.
experiences. Yeah.
We should. Yeah.
And it's an inspiring inspiring, motivational for other basketball players where they come from and where they are now, but still being as they were even when they started. Parang ganun.
Grounded pa rin, ano?
Oo, grounded pa rin.
Hey, Coach Jong, you just gave me an idea. We can do that actually as a federation. Huh?
Yes.
We can actually do that. Write books about.
So, Coach
Pwede.
Jong will spearhead the writing, okay?
Sure.
Coach Jong.
Sure.
I can spearhead just as long as I don't write.
But that's so true because there are so many inspiring stories that
That's
not
right.
many people know about. They
Because-
only know about pagsikat na nila.
We ano,
Pero yung pinagdaanan nila, di ba? Yes, sir, Butch. Yeah.
RD Rico, ikikwento ko lang, yung many years ago when we were, Coach Jong, remember this, we were in Lithuania in 2013 preparing for FIBA Asia. I think this is one of the turning points of, we had one evening nag-storytelling kami about their lives after dinner.
After
Okay.
yeah. We were in the room upstairs, I think.
We started at 8 or 9. We ended almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And no one wanted to sleep. Kasi normally, pag ganyan, di ba, the players want to, let's go na, pag may ma-activity, tama na, let's go.
Correct.
When by no mga midnight, you're, tapusin na natin to, adjourn. Continue na lang to. We had each player tell their story. Doon nag-umpisa yung kwentong gilas, kumbaga.
Yes, doon nag-umpisa yung kwentong gilas idea. Doon.
Binigyan lang ng konting topics to talk about and then you expound on it. So anyway, we were jokingly asking the players, tapusin, adjourn na, let's resume tomorrow. No, we have to listen. And they were all awake and alive and they were, they were so supportive of each other na yung parang, wow, you went through this to get here. You went through this. Hindi pa sila ganun ka-close nung umpisa. I think that's why that 2013 team also was a bit special because of the things that they went through. Anyway, naalala ko lang.
Tama. Kasi hindi natin alam ang history nila, yung buhay nila, hindi natin alam. Diba? Alam lang natin yung ngayon.
And then we want to go to, diba? You want them to go to war together. You play to participate in battles together. And of course, malaking bagay talaga to get to know each other. Yung parang who's beside me? Who am I going to battle with? Diba? And I think that was a very good that was a very good experience, not only for us but especially for these players to hear each other's stories.
Yes,
you get to appreciate them even more.
Even more. That's right.
Not as a basketball player, but as a human being.
That's right.
We should, seriously, we should do that. We should bring it up and have stories of, because you can go back all the way to the old PBA, Mika players dati. Their stories are very, kumbaga, very
madami yan.
Yeah, dami yan.
Maalam ni Coach Jong lahat yun.
Oh. Anyway, may shoutouts pa tayo dito. This one's from the United Kingdom. Jerry Halmilia.
Yeah. Coach Jerry. Yes.
Coach Jerry. See you there soon.
Ito, di rin magpapatalo, taga Iloilo.
Always present rin.
I always like Sir Bayani's anong tawag dyan, mga antics niya. Tsaka favorite shirt niya, Sir Bayani yan.
Oo.
Ayan yung kanyang hindi win the weight. Gain weight in the weight.
In the weight.
Ayun. I like that. See, mga punchline ni Sir Bayani, I like that.
Ito, additional comment from Coach Jerry. Oh, sorry.
He's in the UK now.
The Demigilio
si
story.
Demigilio. Yeah.
Si Demi.
Nani.
Nani.
Marami. And when we went to Davao, I was trying to look for, who is this? Was it Noli Banate, I think? I think it was Noli Banate. I think, because it was in Jessica Soho's show that, parang yung story niya, and then what he is now. I was trying to look for him when we went to Davao, but I could not. But that's one of those things that I would like to do when we are in Cebu. Look for those former players that, to just see how they're doing.
That's true. Here's one of our last. Ito.
Hello.
Ito question.
Alright,
Gabriel Opisan.
All right.
Tingin niyo po ba may chance na mabago ang ruling ng FIBA para makalaro ang NBA prospects tulad nila Jalen Green at Remy Martin para sa Gilas? Shoutout po kay Coach J. Hernandez from Tanza, Cavite. Good question, actually.
Well, that's what we addressed earlier. No, that's why
Yeah.
we're trying to see how we can. We've made our appeals, and we continue to make representation with FIBA, kasi FIBA lang talaga ang makakapag amend ng rule na yan. And we have been continuously trying to explain to them the different types of why we're not simply asking them to change the rule just to favor us, but because it's in our constitution. We're trying to explain things, no, both in a legal way also, para lang hindi lang hindi lang for sport
Yeah.
ang dating.
That's
Pero
true.
hopefully keep our fingers crossed.
Well, like I said, you never know. What if all of a sudden all these federations will somehow get together, international federations, and agree on something like that? Gentlemen, wow, ang bilis. I promise you 1 hour, so we're here at 1 hour right now. But at this point, I'll get your final words now. So thank you for joining us here. May I have your final words here tonight, please? Sir Butch, ikaw muna.
Well, again, maraming salamat RD Rico for inviting us ni Coach Jong. It's an honor to be guesting in your show and be able to talk about our programs, what we've been doing. Kami po sa SBP, the Samang Basketball ng Pilipinas, we have been busy trying to make and keep basketball significant, no, in spite of our situation, in spite of this pandemic. So, like what I said, we'd like to make basketball a beacon or a symbol of hope. Para naman, in spite of all the things that's going around us, kahit konti through basketball ay makapagbigay kami ng pag-asa sa ating mga kababayan. No? So, again, thank you very much. Everybody, please stay safe. And we will all hurdle this together.
Oh, yes, definitely. Coach Jong, your final words, please.
Yes, thank you, Sir Rico, and coaches and players. This time will teach us mental toughness. Tinuturuan lang tayo to be mentally tough and to overcome whatever we are experiencing right now. Be patient for what we are experiencing right now and be adaptable also to the situation. Yun ang tinuturo sa atin ngayon as coaches and as basketball players. So hang in there and have a tough mindset. Thank you.
Tough mindset, very true. So before I let you guys go, I'd like to remind or invite all our viewers to check out our next episode. No? We will flash the slides or the pictures or posters of our next episode next week. Okay? Our next episode next week will feature wala na yung si
Noli
Butch Antonio,
Ayo.
si Noli Ayo and Paul Supan. And then October 26, we're going to
Aba!
the four
Aba!
Musketeers to.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Are you
for
sure?
Sure,
Are you
yes.
Four
sure?
Stooges? That is the Four Stooges.
Oh,
Are
Mark
you
X,
sure?
Martin, and Coach Ryan will join us.
RD Riggs, are you
Wow.
sure?
We're very sure. We're very sure about that. Ang usapan dyan, one bato lang daw eh.
Are you sure about that? Medyo
Alright.
kailangan
Mga-
nandun tayo, Coach Joe. Baka kung
Mga 10,000 viewers yan.
kulang
10,000 views yan, sigurado.
kulang 1 hour doon sa iyo.
Kaya nga eh.
RD Riggs, kulang 1 hour doon sa apat na yun. I
Talaga.
guarantee you.
Oh, I know. So that's why we're preparing for that. Pang marathon yan, pang marathon.
May request lang ako, Arderico. May request
Yes,
lang
yes.
ako. On the
Go.
26 ba yun? 26?
26, yes.
Okay. Siguraduhin mong may laro ang Blackwater para hindi maka-attend si Ryan Beat.
No, kaya lang, kahit na may laro si Blackwater, papayagan ni Coach Nash na may excuse si Coach Ryan. Yan
Sige, yeah. Hindi tayo ng excuse list.
Excuse me. All right. So with that, I'd like to thank our
Matindi
guests.
pala yung lineup na yun.
Matindi yun.
Nagulat naman ako doon, RD Rico, ginulat mo naman ako doon. Nawala tuloy yung ating focus sa ating goodbye eh.
Nawala yung serious na yun.
All of a sudden, I am looking forward to that hello.
May nag-comment na, di ba?
Wala.
Open this Martin. Ayun na.
Ready ka, Martin, ha? Huwag kang mawawala ron.
Ready yan. All right, so with that, once again, we'd like to thank our guest, Mr. Butch Antonio, Coach Jong Uichico,
Thank you.
for joining us. Daghang salamat, no? And
Thank you.
reminding everybody, stay safe, stay home, and keep on praying. Thank you very much. Mayang gabi, kanatong tanan.
Thank you. Good night.
Sir Rico. Bye.